Before my accident, I used to go to the gym all the time. I drove my son to football everywhere. And I was working at a marketing agency as a commercial manager in Manchester. Last May, I was on holiday in Portugal and I was on the beach and I've slipped on the rocks, cracked like the top of my head and dislocated my neck at C6, C7. I remember getting put on a stretcher on the beach and going to a hospital. I didn't have a clue what was happening because they weren't English. They did a CT scan, said that I'd broke my neck, transferred me to another hospital an hour away. At this time I was on my own, they wouldn't let my friend in the ambulance with me. And then I remember waking up in intensive care. I was there for about 2 weeks and then got repatriated back to Salford. When I got to Salford Royal, 4 days after flying there, the metal work that they did in Portugal failed, so my neck dislocated again. So then I had to have another 12-hour surgery and a halo fitted. So I think that just like set me back starting any physio for a while. And a consultant came to see me as soon as I got there and he told me that 2 things are going to happen. You're going to stay in major trauma, get like physically like well and stable, and then you'll go to Southport and learn how to live in a wheelchair. So that like distraught me, and then I was like, I still had like hope because I'd only just like landed there, and he was like, hope's a funny thing. So I just felt like I was constantly seeing consultants and doctors just telling me the same thing. Yeah, I just kept pushing. I just didn't want to accept that I wasn't going to walk again. So I don't even think I was just being positive. I just was refusing to listen to people telling me I wasn't going to walk. And I started doing little bits of physio, like just transferring and things like that. They told me that I was going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, so I was quite limited with what they did with me. But at this point, I was able to walk with a Zimmer frame, just like say from like the bedroom to the bathroom, like short distances. So I was seeing the physio, the OT helping with like washing and dressing, and psychology as well. And Dave from the SIA came to see me in Southport, and I was just saying like I was anxious to go home. I knew there was a way to like see like an NHS physio, and he mentioned that he'd managed to get a grant from the RS Trust for like a young girl. I think she must have broken her neck as well, and then he explained like who started the charity and why. And it was only a couple of months I think after me getting home, and he said he'd spoken to Andy and he was going to put me in touch with him and that I could get some hours funded. When the charity said that it was going to be at the Rehab Physio, I went straight to the Instagram and I was just amazed at the equipment, because obviously in like the NHS hospitals I'd never seen anything like them. I was really interested in that Lexo machine, which I grew to hate, but but yeah, I was just amazed at the equipment. I think there was a video that showed the tech room with all the different machines, and then I was just looking through like your videos and your pictures and just reading reviews and things like that, and then yeah, that's how I heard about the Rehab Physio. I think the first person I met when I arrived on the first day was Jess, and she told me how my day was going to be. She took me into the tech room and showed me like the schedule for the day, the machines I was going to be on, and then I had a physio session with Zoe. I loved my time at the Rehab Physio. I spent like, it's a lot of hours spending there with like a group of people, and it helped me not just physically, like mentally. So when the course ended and I was back at home and had like NHS physio, which was once, like twice a week maximum, like it did like get me feeling quite down again. But I've recently had a session with the team to give me some things to be getting on with at home, so I'm still improving. A big change I noticed, which was one of my goals as well, was for my knees to not snap back, because it limited how much I could walk. It was painful. And that was, like I say, one of my main goals. And within like a couple of the days, like I've seen like a huge improvement with that. I thought I was going to have to deal with the fact that my legs were going to just snap back like that every time I took a step. And then Zoe put the FES on and they stopped snapping back, which shown it was just a weakness in my muscles rather than this was just the way that I was going to be walking. I liked how the day was structured, so I'd do like 3 hours on machines, different machines, and an hour with the physio. So when I was with the physio, I had a lot of the electrical stimulation on like my glutes and my quads, the things that were really weak. We did a lot of balance work on the machines. I went on the Lexo, which I really didn't enjoy, but obviously I didn't enjoy it because it was hard, but I would do like over 1,000 steps on it, which I wouldn't do in like general day to day. I did a lot of standing work on the timer with Jess, and there's just loads of interactive games on it, so you're not just doing like quite boring repetitive sit stands, you're playing games. There was a bike. I enjoyed the bike because I could do cycling, but you could change it to be a leg press, again with like interactive games. And my favourite part was it was actually 12 months to the day since I broke my neck, and I did some independent walking. One of the main things that I couldn't do and didn't think I'd ever be able to do before I did the intense programme was getting on and off the floor. The whole time through hospital, I avoided with physios practicing getting on and off the floor. I think because it put me in the headspace of if I fall, getting up off the floor, and because I'd had the fall, which broke my neck, I'm frightened to death of falling. But when I was at the rehab physio, we did it in a different way, rather than it be, oh, you fell, how would you get up? And yeah, I did it, and I have had a couple of falls since, and I've been able to get myself on and off the floor. I'm so grateful to the 3 charities that collaborated to fund the intensive course for me. I would never have been able to do this without it being funded, and that was the RST, the Frankel Topping Charitable Foundation, and Fletcher's Foundation. At the moment, my main goal is to walk unaided, so I'm focusing on doing sit-to-stands unaided, not holding on, working on engaging my pelvis to not rely on holding on to crutches, holding on to walking sticks, because at the minute I can walk with crutches and with sticks, but it limits me. I can't go into a shop and buy anything, I can't carry anything from the kitchen, I have to get around in my wheelchair because I haven't got a free hand to hold anything. When I was in hospital, my main goal was I wanted to get up on my feet, whether that meant I was going to be walking with crutches for the rest of my life, walking sticks. Now that I've been to the rehab physio, my goal is to walk unaided without any walking sticks.